China. What's your view on the opportunity and then the risk that you might be compromising some of the company's values?
I think it's something we worry about. I mean, anybody who does business in China compromises some of their core values, every single company, because the laws in China are quite a bit different than they are in our own country. The question that I think comes to my mind and that I struggle with is, are we better off giving Chinese citizens a decent search engine, a capable search engine, even if it is restricted and censored in some cases, than a search engine that's not very good? And does that improve the quality of their lives? And that's the struggle we have to work our way.
Right. So can you do more good by being there, even in a compromised form?
Correct. I think that's.
And
the question.
do you know the answer to that?
I don't know the answer to that.
Because you were there 7 or 8 years ago.
I don't know the answer to that. I think it's a legitimate question in asking, how can you do it and still live within the context of what their regulations are.
What does it tell you about the political climate these days, or perhaps the empowerment that employees are feeling, that even as this search engine was in a prototype form, the news got out and people were wringing their hands and debating it?
Part of what is reflected inside Google, as it is everywhere in the Valley and everywhere in our country right now, is the divisiveness that exists in our country. And I think that divisiveness has fed more concern about how these technologies get used.
The search engine aside, if Google were to introduce cloud tools in China, you'd probably, as Apple does, have to store data inside the country. Is that something that the company should be doing? Does that worry you?
If you wind back to the time when Google decided to exit China, there were lots of things going on, not just censorship, but also
potential surveillance.
Yeah, surveillance, hacking attempts, things like that. And those all added together to create a situation. You know, we're in a different time now, asking how you do this, how you make it safe. But you're right, if you store data in the country, it can be gotten at by the Chinese authorities.
Does that make you feel uncomfortable?
I think you should worry about it. At a minimum, you better make sure that your users understand that.
Speaking of the divisiveness, we do seem to be in the midst, or even in, a trade war with China. What would be the potential implications for Silicon Valley or for Alphabet in particular if the hostilities continue or even get worse?
I think in general, trade wars are not productive, and they're not economically productive either. And we should try to remind people of that and find a way to move forward.